going on, good people? Hope you're well out there on this Wednesday. We just had a class over at hfmusicacademy.com, and it was an awesome class. I am excited to be here with you right now. We're going to be talking about live loops and how to trigger scenes and how to make the most of scenes. Here we go. Let's go. All right, very good. I see you got your A game today and you are ready for action. So let's jump right in. We're talking about live loop scenes in Logic Pro. In addition to playing cells individually, we know that we can play cells in a scene together. Think of it like a musical section, a verse, a chorus, drop. You can select duplicate. You can select each one of these. You can duplicate, you can rename, move them, and then of course you can delete scenes as well. You can also change the Quantize Start value. We've been talking about this a lot, and play mode for each scene. So we can determine its rotation, how long it takes to play back. Is it 4? Is it 8? Is it 12, 16 bars? We're going to look at the values here in a second. And you can also tell the scenes to play in certain ways. For example, when I trigger you, I want you to start. When I trigger you again, I want you to stop. That's one mode. It's default. You can also have it work in such a way where when you trigger it, it starts the playback all over again, or the revolution all over again, right? So all of a sudden now we're using a triggering action to play it over and over and over, and that can create like a nice effect, which lots of artists use. So that's really cool. And then there's another one called momentary. We'll talk about that later. When you trigger a scene, all the cells in the scene use the scene's Quantize Start value. All right, so we're always talking about language here on this channel. And when we're learning something as objective as Logic Pro, we're not talking about the art form, right? We're talking about just the science and the data. We want to make sure that we look at the language. So when you trigger a scene, all cells in the scene use that scene's Quantize Start value and play mode. So unless it's otherwise indicated, when you tell the scene that you want it to be 4 bars or what have you, every single cell is going to follow that, okay? And it's also going to follow the play mode. When you start or stop individual cells in a scene, each cell uses its own Quantize Start value and play mode. So when you do stop these cells or scenes, each one of them is going to also have its value. So we'll look at this a little bit more in a second, but essentially your scene can have its own settings, and then the individual cells can have their own settings as well. You can add currently playing cells from different scenes to an empty scene or to a scene already containing cells. So if there's something off on, scene 5 that you want to play in this current scene, you can just go ahead and trigger it. That's a fair game. And yeah, looks like that's it. All right, so let's get into Logic and let's look at some of these examples. Okay, so first thing we're looking at is how to make sure that the scenes are in focus. All right, so let's look at the verbiage, my good friends. We see extended scene selection. So that means that these 3 are selected. You can hold shift to do that, but one of them is the selected scene with focus. You can have an extended selection, but at some point you're going to have to select just one of them. So let's look at that really quick. Scenes are similar to tracks regarding focus and selection. When you select multiple scenes, the first selected scene is the focus scene, right? Same with tracks. Some operations, such as using a key command to trigger a scene, only affect the focus scene when multiple scenes are selected. So when you use a key command to trigger a scene, in this case return, only the focus scene is going to be triggered. Why is that? We cannot trigger multiple scenes at once. We can trigger multiple cells, but they cannot be contained within the same scene. When multiple scenes are selected, the area around the trigger of the focus scene appears gray, unlike the other selected scenes. So again, these are not focused, whereas the selected scene is highlighted, okay? All right, so let's look at that in Logic. Let me just, okay, good. All right, so if you look down here, track 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm selecting track 1. I'm not hitting the trigger per se, right? There's the top portion, there's the bottom portion. I'm just selecting the bottom portion. And that allows me to make sure it's in key focus. Now, what's interesting here is that, again, when I create an aggregate by holding Shift, it changes the behavior, right? Now I can select multiple scenes, and I'm curious to see why you would do that. I assume it has something to do with altering the behavior inside of play mode, Quantize Start, and set all scene triggers. But regardless of that, the one that's in focus is number 1. Now, if I wanted to change that, I wonder if there's an appropriate key command. It's not that. Okay, you let go of Shift and you click on the appropriate scene. And so now I can create a selection of multiple scenes, but have one highlighted. So when I hit the key command return, that specific scene is playing back. The attention will now be shifted to track number 4. I will click on it one time, right? The attention has been diverted. You can see right here. All right, and then I will hit the key command, return. Oh, wait, it's not in focus anymore. I think that should work. Here we go. So when I mistakenly clicked away from the screen, key focus was out of this selection. And that's why I didn't play back that first time. So now I'm using the arrow keys. Now, 2 things are happening. I'm selecting the cell. Let's see, let me do this and we do that. Okay, so I'm selecting the cells, but also I am selecting the scene. So it works that way because I'm using my left and right arrow key. If I use the up and down arrow key, I'm selecting the cell and I'm selecting the track. So just be aware of that behavior. We're just trying to point out some of the more obvious aspects of this. And I believe that when we do, your eyes begin to look at the program in a much clearer way. And then after that, once you start experiencing clarity, then you really start to thoroughly understand what's happening here. You start to break down the nuts and bolts of the program, and then you start to have fun. And that's what I'm looking forward to when I start hearing your stories and when I start watching your performances wherever you're going to be crushing it. All right, so in terms of selecting scenes, we know we can click the scene name under the scene trigger. All right, so this right here is the scene trigger, and then below that, the scene name. You may be asking, Eddie, I don't see a name, I see a number. That's because I need to double click. Conversely, you can, oh no, that doesn't work for that. I wonder if there's a key command. Let me just check. Let me see, Shift T is the key command to, Shift Enter to rename a track. I wonder if you can rename a track or rename a cell. So let's see. Yeah, nothing yet by way of key command. So if you want to rename a scene, you're going to have to double click it. Right, so here I'll call this, it's not a drop, but you get the point. Just double click. Okay. What else? If you want to select the previous or next scene, we know we can press the left or right arrow. Now it says here, when no scenes are selected, press Option left or right arrow. Okay, so when no scenes are selected, let me get my attention away from the scene. I wonder if there's an actual way to do this. It's gonna be tough because it seems like something's always in focus. But if I hold Shift and I kind of get my attention away from here, let's see if I can. Nope, it seems like it's pretty stubborn. So, I'm trying to figure out how to deselect scenes. Not working right now. Seems like everything I touch influences scene selection. So not getting anything here, but not because it's wrong. I just don't know how to deselect scenes at the moment. Let's see if they get into it. When no scenes are selected, oh yeah, that's what we just covered. I will maybe I'll just underline. Well, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah, that's okay for now. Select multiple scenes. We can shift click. We've talked about that. And if you want to extend the scene while holding shift, press left and right arrow key. So at the moment, you can see I have scene 1 selected. I hold shift, right arrow key is going to select multiple scenes. Let's figure out why you would want to do this, because this fascinates me. The why behind it. And that's pretty cool. Without holding shift, this is how we can move around with these scenes up and down. So now you have a pretty good handle on how to navigate this workspace. Let's talk about changing the focus scene in a multiple selection. Press the left arrow to choose the previous scene or the right arrow to choose the next scene. So if multiple tracks are selected as they are right now, if I just tap the right arrow, I've now selected scene 2, so it's in key focus. Again, nothing's been triggered yet. Same with 3, same with 4, same with 5. Okay, looks like we can also move focus to the specific scene. If you click the scene name, what's going to happen is that it will now have key focus as a result. All right, when we want to trigger, we know that we could use the key command, trigger focus scene. And let's make sure I'm giving you the exact information because they're not letting us know in the user guide. Trigger focused scene. So it looks like there's actually another one. Normally, I would have to make sure that the scene was in focus and then I would hit return, but there's always something better. There's always something better. And then on top of that, they've got like 2 other ones that actually may work. Retrigger selected cells or focus scene. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this. I'm actually currently updating my key commands. I'm always trying to learn a couple new key commands. And for those of you that are aligned and up to date with Speaker Food, they have a phenomenal software application called Gain Control, which allows you to do so much in terms of increasing gain, reducing gain. They just added, and this is strictly for audio, they just added the ability to fade in, fade out, and it's just a really great thing. And I love that you can reset everything as well. And they have a couple of key commands, so now I want to implement those. And so sometimes you just have to write these things down and just keep them next to you. I often like to look at the project notes for details in case I'm trying to remember something. So that's great. Okay, let's keep going here. When no cells are selected and the live loops grid is active, you can also use the play live loops key command. So if no cells are selected and the live loops grid is active, right? Now it's a little bit different because we can use return to trigger the focus scene. But I want to go back to this key command that we just discovered. I'm not sure if they're going to talk about it, but option command, and this is return. So, and then the other one is command, control command. Okay, good. So the first one is going to trigger the focus scene. So let's just look at that really quick. All right, so I'm going to try this now. All right, I don't know the difference between just hitting return and option command return. So you guys find out, please let me know. They seem different, but I was trying some different things out, triggering other cells. I did not see any discrepancies there. Let's go with retrigger selected cells or focused scene. So now we're re-triggering by means of Control Command Return. All right, so let's see if okay, so let's check something out really quick. If I control click here and we go to play mode, its default is retrigger, so this is kind of cheating. So start stop works like this. I hit return, it plays, I hit return again, it stops. Okay, so that makes sense. But if I use this key command, I wonder if it will supersede the behavior. Control command, let's go. Next level. That's really nice, guys. You don't even have to change the behavior of the scenes if you utilize this key command. I think it's certainly worth it. I will be adding this to my arsenal. Now, again, just the only thing is trigger focused scene, and the difference between that and, oh, you know what? I know what it is now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so let's say I'm selecting, you know how sometimes you build out songs and you want the drums to come in first and the bass. So right now I'm going to trigger the individual cell. I'm talking this one at the very top, my good friends, right here. Okay, can you see it? All right, good. And so then what I'm going to do right now is just trigger it so that it plays out. And it's just the one, yeah? Let's go. Good. And then from here, I'm going to add the congas. I could hit the cell, or I could just use the arrow keys. I'm going to hit return now. Okay, I'm going to bring down the volume real quick, because now what I'm going to do, rather than hitting the key command return, I'm going to hit option command return, and that's going to trigger the scene regardless of what is in key focus in terms of the cells. Because focus is also around the scene, we will listen to everything play back. So this just gives you some more functionality if you're a keyboard warrior. Let's bring up the music. All right, good. Now I'm starting to kind of deselect some stuff here. All right, good. And then I don't have to hover the mouse all the way down here, right? Nor do I have to take my arrow selection, which is up here at the moment, if you guys are looking at the top of my screen, right? All I have to do, because this is the cell that's in focus, all I have to do is just hit option command return, and I'll prove it to you. I'm going to select this cell right out here. Look at this, way off right field. And then now, because I'm hitting option command, and I'm going to trigger everything else. You ready? Let's take the beat down. Here we go. Good. All right. All right. Yeah. Good. Some good stuff. Some good stuff. All brought to you by hfmusicacademy.com. We want you guys to win. We believe that the modern creative will thrive. We've always said there's a new kind of talent, a new kind of mind arising in this space, and we have to welcome this new influx of talent. And so we just want you guys to win. We want you to have the right information, and not just always in the box. We want to make sure that you are open to all the possibilities, right? If everybody says that you're supposed to do something, perhaps sometimes it's a good idea to break those rules. And there's several examples. We won't get into them now because I want to keep covering this, but just stay in the game, keep learning every single day. Just try and learn one new thing. Regardless if you're a beginner or not, we all need this, right? It helps us, right? We were meant to thrive. We were meant to go up. And so this is what it's all about. Let's continue going here. So now we know how to select the scenes. All right, we know how to trigger the scenes, and then we kind of went off on a tangent there as far as selecting various scenes, because we're in that beast mode. You guys are kind of sleeping on me. Let's go. Very good, very good. All right, cool. So very good. Now that we understand how to select, how to trigger, and I'm sure there's actually a little bit more there, but that's probably a good place to start. We're going to work on copying the currently playing cells to a scene. All right. So playback's going. The scene is in full throttle. Let's read a little bit. This is useful if you want to combine cells from different scenes into a new scene. Okay. If you copy the playing cells to a scene that already contains cells, copied cells will replace any existing cells. And I imagine if there's nothing there, obviously it's just going to be placed on there. So if you control click the scene and you're going to be prompted with the contextual menu, then you're going to want to choose copy playing cells here. Okay, copy playing cells here. This is very similar to a key command in Ableton. I don't remember it, but there you go. And then you select a scene and use the copy playing cells here. Key command. There's a key command. Let's run this first and then we'll go from there. Okay, so for example, let's say I have scene 12 in key focus. I start playing some stuff here. So I'm going to control click. Let me bring this down. Ooh, all of that stopped because there's no loops. Let me hit L, arrow key. Hold on. L. Okay, now this will give me what I need. Okay, so I'll click here, copy playing cells here. That's on a new scene with empty cells. All right, so the cells that we're currently playing on scene 11 just transitioned over. Okay, why is this useful? Let me just show you like just a very basic usage here. So let's pretend, and I'll bring everything back, I promise. Let's pretend that I'm just starting to arrange this idea. You know, we were jamming last night, you and I were working on a song and we came up with like a basic working idea. Well, rather than having to do all this dragging, you know, this kind of traditional workflow, what they're offering is, hey, all you got to do now is trigger the scene. So let's say you and I get together. We're like, hey, we want the song to start with the drum machine, the percussion, and the guitars. All right. So I'll shift click these three, or I can even, oh, you could do that too. I can hold shift and go down. Let me see what happens if I trigger. Nice. Good. So then rather than having to do anything else, right, I just come over here to that fourth section and I say copy those playing cells right here. All right, so now I'm developing an arrangement, right? And then I'll say on this next one, I want to add the hammered mallets. Let's go. Good. So here on the drop section right here, the one that's empty, I'm going to do the same thing. Copy playing cells here. Let's go. Good. So if I go back, I have my intro right here. And then, my good friends, I've got my next section. Good. And then let's just pretend we want to do the whole shebang here. I'll play or trigger everything here. And then this time I want to use the key command. I don't know what it is. Copy playing cells here. So I wonder why they don't insert those. Copy playing cells here. So this is going to be one of your best friends. Okay. This is command. What is that? Home or something? I got to check up here to be honest. Copy playing. It's either page up. Okay. I'm just going to try some stuff. And I wonder. Yeah, okay, so I'll play these. Okay, they're playing back. I'm just going to put the volume down. And then I shift my focus there. I hit Command I believe it's going to be home or up or down. Let's see. Let's play with, yeah. So it's page up is the key command. Looks like that. Cool. So now we notice that it just shifted everything over. So this is another way to arrange. Okay. You don't have to think in terms of the past. Obviously, it's absolutely necessary, right? The traditions of the past will always be here. That's what we're standing on. That's what's supporting us. But of course, as creatives, we're all going somewhere as well. And that needs to be at least considered substantially. So very good stuff. Very good. All right, let's bring you in here. 1 sec. Okay. So copy currently playing cells to a scene. I just kind of went through a demo here, how you can play something. And so I'll just give you, again, a basic idea here. If I have these two playing and I want them to show up here, all I have to do is, well, trigger them, make sure they're playing, and then control click, copy playing cells here. And let's say on the next section, you wanted to add these two and the beat, which is right here. This time I'll do this by way of key command. I'll hold command, page up, and then all of those playing cells have now been transferred over to this new section, right? We're actually listening to material, and I know this because there's nothing playing here in here. So let's make sure we mute this. Good. Option L brings me back. Okay, good. So yeah, the key command here, command page up. We can reorder the scenes if we would like. So let's say this was kind of the framework, right? This could be your drafting space where you formulate ideas. And then here you start to actually form the arrangement. So if I wanted to change the arrangement, or I could just click, drag this over, and then this will shuffle, right? We can rename by double clicking. We can control click and rename, right? This is all default behavior. We can change the play mode for a scene. Control click, right? And choose a play mode. We talked about all the various play modes. Probably the only one that I should just make a quick mention of is momentary. And again, why this is important is because so long as I'm hitting the key command, in this case, I'm just going to click and hold my mouse. Check it out. Right? I click, I held, the scene changed, it looked like a blue color, right? If I were to do that with start stop, that doesn't happen that way. So I really have to give it to Logic for this incredible engineering. It always amazes me. This program forever just delights me. It's just such an amazing program. I'm so happy to be a part of it. If you want to ask me questions, you can ask questions over at the Apple community. I've been answering and helping people from everywhere. It's been such a great experience. And again, always learning, always learning. All right, changing the Quantize Start value. So let's learn about that. So we could have this follow the global Quantize Start menu up here, but I'm going to change it up. For this one, I want it to go every quarter note because I want to be able to re-trigger it really quickly like this. Right? So you see how that's working? I wouldn't be able to pull that off if I was on global because the Quantize Start indicator at the top right, it takes so long for this to go all the way around. And that's probably good on a global level, but sometimes you just want to play something really quick. Now, obviously, the disadvantage of doing it this way is there's no visual indicator of this play mode, right? I'm sorry, this Quantize Start. We don't know exactly when that quarter note is unless we're looking at that diagram. I'm sure there's something will be done about that, but basically it's, if we listen to the click, so it's 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, right? So long as I keep hitting on the 1, 2, 3, 4, it should keep re-triggering. Now I have this set up to what? Play mode, start, stop. So if you want that behavior to change and not to stop, then you might want to change that to re-trigger or even momentary. Okay. I think momentary, this is just my personal opinion now. This is not based on the Logic user guide. I think momentary is really good for like vocal samples, things that you just want to kind of throw out there and then pull them back out really quickly, because you can determine their playback. So it's really nice. Now, ideally, if you're going to use momentary, you should probably use it off of the grid or with a lower value like eighth note or something like that, so you can really take advantage of triggering the scene and then pulling it out. Try it out to see what I mean. Let me turn off that click. Command K. All right, my good friends, let's see what we got next. Changing the Quantize Start value. Let's do this and then we'll call it a day. If you want to change the Quantize Start value or play mode, all we have to do is control click, right, as I just showed you. Any previous changes you made to the Quantize Start value or play mode of an individual scene are updated with the new setting. So remember to kind of close the loop on this. We can have individual settings for the scene, and I'm talking Quantize Start and play mode. We can have individual settings for the cell itself, and again, quantize the playback. And see, is there anything else with this? Yeah, where is the... Oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. The play mode and the play from. So we can determine those settings here, independent of the scene, independent of all the stuff that's going on up here. And yeah, I think that's good for now. So in order to really wrap your head around this, as always, I really just recommend you spend some time with it. I think it took me probably about a good week, maybe 2. I remember the first day I spent time with it, it all worked. It all made sense to me, but it was just new. And so, I wasn't fully comfortable with it. But I believe you will get this. I'm looking forward to all the performers out there doing their thing, streaming online, on Twitch, what have you. I'm excited about seeing what you guys come up with, as always. Very happy to be here, spend some more time together. No, it's not easy, but we keep going. I know it's not easy, but we keep expanding our mind, our confidence. We want to make sure that we create a strong foundation for ourselves as we move forward in our day to day. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I will see you tomorrow. If you're liking the content, go ahead and hit that notification bell. And yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers.